Hi everyone, my name is Linda. Thanks for tuning into this What the Hell reading. This reading is timeless, it's not date specific. It's designed to bring you succinct and quick messages in a timely way for any specific issue that you may be pondering at this time, or just general collective insight. So in order to make these readings short and sweet for you, I've pre-shuffled the cards and prepared the spread ahead of time. I haven't looked at the cards yet. So let me describe the layout. So the first card that we've pulled here, well, this is a really interesting spread, very powerful. The first card here describes what the issue is, where am I now? The second card is what challenge do I face? The third card from the Rider-Waite deck is what resources can I use? The fourth card here from the Spolier deck is what are the hidden forces? From the Voyager deck we have what is the potential outcome? And from the runes, here we have what is the spiritual lesson. So, interesting spread. I would say right away, this is a very powerful reading that's definitely a collective energy. You can see we have three major arcana cards showing up here, and the three cards are in reverse. And it's interesting that, the Hierophant, the Devil, and the Emperor all can be cards that speak about dominion, excessive, domineering, forceful, overbearing, controlling, out of balance masculine energies. So let's get into it. So the first card here is where am I now, the Hierophant reverse. So what this says to me is that this is a time when dogma is being dispelled, institutions are being disrupted, or what's being illuminated by the current energies is that there is an issue that needs to be resolved within institutions, within because the Hierophant represents official bodies like governments, institutions like education, even the medical institutions, medical body, like the medical care in general, like anything institutionalized. And seeing it here in reverse as the issue, it says to me that people are becoming aware that there is something there are issues that need to be addressed in those areas. And if you look at the other cards in the spread, it's clear what those issues are. There's control, there's domineering, there is an imbalance, there is an excessive use of propaganda, I would say, misinformation in order to keep control in a certain way. Let's address this card. The Ace of Pentacles this is the Aquarian Tarot, if anyone's interested. The Ace of Pentacles in reverse here represents what is the challenge. So this says to me that the challenge in this situation is to have a fresh start in a physical way, to plant new seeds, to usher in a new generation or a new cycle or a new beginning with regard to the general issue that we're looking at here, that we've already discussed. So seeing the Ace of Pentacles in reverse here says to me that the challenge is actually to, I guess, because the Ace of Pentacles is in reverse, there is a delay. There's a delay there, right? So how I'm seeing this is that there is a lag between what we know the problem is and the solutions being brought into play. It feels to me like there's other things that need to play out in this situation, and we'll get to that with the Four of Wands here being in the card of the position of what are the hidden forces. But definitely, like, these three major arcana cards here and even the Four of Wands are talking about the institutionalized power being corrupt and needing to be disrupted, needing to be catalyzed. But this Four of Wands here in the position of the hidden forces, I mean, that says to me that you can see in this card, and actually in the in the Rider-Waite deck, in many of the kind of tarot decks that depict the Four of Wands as this kind of does, where there's a celebration happening. In some decks, and even in the Rider-Waite deck, the Four of Wands is can be a wedding or any kind of celebration of an accomplishment or a happy time of union in particular. So what this says to me is that the hidden forces here, give me a second to tune in. I'm going to zoom in a little bit, see if we can get tighter on that. So hidden forces is the Four of Wands. What that says to me is that because the Four of Wands is upright, the Four of Wands is, it's interesting, the Four of Wands and the Hierophant together, because the Hierophant can speak about marriage too, because it has to do with, again, commitments, institutions, traditions, right? Traditions, that's the Hierophant. So this says to me that the hidden forces are that traditional, the energy of tradition, or the energy of lineage, or the energy of something that has already been established, still has its grip very firmly. Because you see the Four Wands are buried in the ground. That foundation needs to be uprooted. You have another four here with the Emperor in reverse. So these two cards are tied together. I mean, the whole spread is. This is a fascinating read to me. So Four of Wands in the upright position as the hidden forces, saying that what is already established needs to be redefined and uprooted. But I'm also feeling like with this energy here, the Four of Wands being what the hidden forces is kind of suggesting to me that there is something already at play which is unknown to most of us, which is actually working towards this sensation of happiness, victory, something stable being established. This card in this position of the reading actually gives me a lot of hope and positivity for what the rest of this spread is saying. This card here being the potential outcome of the Emperor being reversed. And then the rune here, the rune is describing what is the the spiritual lesson. So this rune is called Tiwaz, and it's about honor and justice, authority, leadership, which actually both of these cards, the Hierophant and the Emperor, can both describe. But because both of these cards are in the reverse position, that says to me that the people who are, or the established leadership or the established authority is out of balance. It's out of balance. It's tyrannical. It is abusive. It is dogmatic. It is systematically oppressive. And so the spiritual lesson here is to discover how to return to true strength, to true honor and justice and leadership that is protective and loving and kind and nurturing. Something has to be sacrificed, and it's not about people sacrificing. Something has to shift in the mentality and in the leadership and authority. Something has to shift. People should not have to keep sacrificing themselves. People should not have to continue to suffer under injustice. Leadership needs to show more compassion and more honor. Having leadership requires a great responsibility, and that responsibility needs to be used correctly. This energy actually needs to come into play. These two cards together are actually both very hopeful in this reading. The Devil in reverse here as the resources is actually describing the ability to overcome the oppression of control and tyranny, and to break free and to experience liberation from that oppression. I feel like celebration is coming soon. There will be a time, I feel, where people can actually enjoy some respite from the challenging energies that we've been facing, and there will be a time where people can actually rest and celebrate and enjoy the result of a freedom that's attained as a result of bringing into play this energy of not retaliation exactly, but bringing the awareness in a more evident way of this level of oppressive, overburdensome, imbalanced leadership and authority. A return to honor, a return to protection, a return to healthy leadership. Better communication is definitely required. Better leadership is definitely required. I'm not sure what else I can say here. Let me have a check. So this reading definitely felt like it was coming through as a collective energy. Let me see if I can bring in some comments or some notes with regard to this spread as far as how it might play out for individuals in their home life or in their personal life. So if you're struggling under if you're living in a household where you feel this kind of oppression as well in your home environment, in your personal space, you know, maybe whether it's like a boss or a leader of some kind that you deal with, either the head of your household or you know, partner, boss, something like that. There is here, again, similar energy, but the way it would play out for you at home could be something like, you know that there needs to be changes made. You know that shifts need to occur. You know that new seeds need to be planted that would bring about a different situation, a different space where dogma and tyranny and control and oppression is not the dominant force, but where there is more stability and more equality and more honor for individuals to exist on. Then some kind of energy needs to, like the resources that you need to realize that you have access to is this energy of the devil reversed, where you are actually liberated by your own choices, right? You in your environment, like if you're feeling the oppression and the energy of dogmatic leadership or dogmatic people in your environment, then you need to realize that you are free to make different choices. You are free to communicate your opinions. You are free to shift to a different location. You are free to demand equality. You are free to rise up and let it be known that there needs to be a better way of doing things. I feel the energy of the devil here is bringing a rising up energy, where you acknowledge that you have been in bondage by your own making in a way. Maybe you've been too passive, and there is a need for more self-regulation is the word that's coming to mind, but I don't mean to say that in a way that feels dismissive of anyone's issues. It's more like you are, whatever you have been dealing with is something that you've been tolerating, and maybe you have been communicative, but unless you actually make a shift in your own mindset, in your own physical energy, and in the way that you hold yourself and the way you communicate what is okay and not okay for you. You understand what I'm saying? This is about your own clarification of the boundaries that you're willing to maintain. So if this kind of behavior is not okay for you, then you need to change something within yourself so that you can create a new outcome from this point out. Be your own protector here. That's what I'm feeling with this rune. Be your own protector. Rather than expecting protection to come from other places where you put the energy of responsibility and trust. Trust yourself to be more of your own guide and be more in tune with what you need for your own safety and well-being and comfort. And you take that responsibility on. And you get that for yourself rather than waiting for people to provide it, even though they should. I feel like I'm going to close this reading up now. I really hope that was helpful. For me, it didn't feel like a totally conclusive reading. It's an open-ended reading. I feel like this story is definitely not complete. But I hope that this reading gives you a little bit of insight and some help, some hope, and some clarity. It's been an honor and a pleasure to read for you. Thank you so much. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe. I'll see you in the next reading.